Hello and welcome to your Soul Service Astrology update for the week commencing the 6th of December 2021. Welcome to December. If we haven't met, hello, I'm Kelx. I'm a 13 sign Sidereal astrologer and the creator of Soul Service Astrology. What is Soul Service Astrology? Soul Service Astrology is a technique and a program that allows you to connect with your cosmological nature, to get aligned with it, and then to craft a plan for your life and your business so that your strategic planning, your business planning starts to be backed up by this beautiful ecological and cosmological union with the solar system and the planet. All of you goes into your business plan. So it's both energy and matter. If you're interested in working with me in 2022, Soul Service Astrology, my professional program, which trains you to become an astrologer, but to walk out of that course with your soul service plan, is open now for enrollment. Early bird ends on the 5th of December. Send me a message and we can organise a time to chat to see if the program is right for you. What is happening in the sky this week? Let's take a look. There we go. We have Monday's chart sitting on the screen now, and the main shift this coming Monday, the 5th of December, is that Jupiter is entering Aquarius. Jupiter entered Aquarius at the beginning of the year, spent a little bit of time there, and then went back into Capricorn. Jupiter is now going to transit through Aquarius, not going back into Capricorn for another 12 years. So 12 years, we need to be embracing our leader. So did you embrace that expansive quality? Did you embrace your faith in your leadership? Because now is the time to start to expand into your vision. You want to start to expand into your vision and start to bring through the changes that you would love to see in the world backed up by your beliefs. That's what Jupiter is. So this is a lovely pairing, I feel, between the great benefict, which is Jupiter, very lucky, abundant, prosperous planet, that it has always been. Ancient ones thought that Jupiter, because it's so big, so expansive, so incomprehensible, so expansive, that of course it can only be but lucky. I don't necessarily vibe into the word lucky, but I certainly vibe into the qualities of higher potentials. And I certainly vibe into that quality that Stephen Hawking states is that in an infinite universe, all possibilities are certain. And we can definitely embrace that with Jupiter in Aquarius over the next few months. So I would encourage you to connect with your why now. Why are you doing the career that you're doing? Why are you doing the business that you're doing? Why are you going on a certain journey that you're going on? Is it aligned with your beliefs? Is it aligned with you as a leader, as a faithful leader of your philosophies, coming out of Capricorn? These are some of the qualities that you can start stepping into now. So I'd really encourage you over the next month or so, as we're winding down towards holidays, it's a great time to look at our why and our vision for our higher potential. Now, you might refer to that as a goal. I prefer to see this more not as a goal, but as a vision. What is the vision for you? Then we step into Tuesday, the 7th of December, and the sun moves into Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is the 13th sign on the zodiac. Now, you may not be aware of that. There is a 13th sign on the zodiac. Astrologers look at the ecliptic. The ecliptic is where the planets revolve around the sun. We want to be looking at the star asterisms that actually fall the closest on the ecliptic, and that's what I do. And Ophiuchus, the snake handler, falls at this position on the ecliptic. There is quite an epic story in relation to Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus was a child conceived out of a supposed adultery, and the child was sent to be looked after by Chiron. And Chiron was a great alchemist and a healer, and it was a centaur. Chiron was seen as a centaur, and it lived on the fringes of society. So you can hear in there the quality of quirks and perhaps differences. So this child, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Acephalus, was sent to Chiron to learn. I hope I've got the names right. And then what happened was Acephalus learnt, and it learnt magic and mystery and healing to the point where it brought back a snake from the dead. The god of the underworld, Hades, was not happy about this. Hades went and said to Zeus, I'm not happy about this. There is now this creature out there that can stop people from coming to the underworld, basically stop people from dying, right? So this is not a logical story. This is a myth-layered story with information from collective unconscious. And Zeus had Acephalus killed, but immortalized Acephalus in the constellation of Ophiuchus. The constellation of Ophiuchus was deleted from Roman mythology, from Roman astrology. And if you hear about the qualities of healing that Acephalus was capable of and that lived on the fringes, you can hear that this is where the witches lived, this is where the healers lived, those that lived beyond the realm of logic. A lot of the feminine healers at the time, around the turn of the, is it the millennium, or becoming into common era, out of before common era. And you can see all the philosophers, the Greek and the Roman philosophers, starting to debate whether logic and reason and science is more important than our intuition and mysticism and spirituality. And some of those Western philosophers decide that it is. Then you've got Christianity coming in there, and they're starting to see how powerful women are. They're starting to see how powerful the feminine are as healers, but that's going to take away from this new system that we can control people with, namely Christianity. So they delete Ophiuchus from the system, as women were deleted from the Bible. So this period of time is quite... it's a sanctuary. It's a sanctuary for our feminine. Now, regardless of whether you identify as feminine or whether you identify as masculine, it doesn't matter. We all have this quality of the healer within us. We all have this quality of healing our own hurts. We are capable of it. We all have this feminine quality where our vulnerability is our superpower. The sun is our expression, and we want to shine authentically. So it may actually be a period of time where you're getting vulnerable, where you're really showing an aspect of yourself, an aspect of your authenticity, and perhaps conveying that out into the world, the sun, that feels raw and vulnerable. But just know that you are held and supported by Ophiuchus, the snake handler, because that's me and all the feminine workers, all the mystics holding us to step into our more authentic selves, our more deeply connected selves to our reasoning mind and our spiritual nature. And I would say that that is energy and matter coming into a dynamic harmony. So that is the sun stepping into Ophiuchus. Then on Wednesday, the 8th of the 12th, we have a square between Jupiter and Mars. Now, typically in tropical astrology, you wouldn't have a square between two signs that are of the same element. However, I feel like this square is quite important because we've just had Jupiter step into Aquarius. So we have this expansive vision. We've been asked to connect with our deep faith in ourselves as a leader for our dreams. We must lead our own dreams. So now we have this very expansive vision, and that can scare us. Fear can come up. And it's the fear around, how do I do this? Because that's Mars. How do I take action on this and make sure that the causes close to my heart are also looked after. I'm not just letting the ego rule. I'm not just doing this to get material success or material abundance. I'm actually doing this to bring changes about in the world, and I'm doing this to bring harmony and balance and justice. I'm doing this as the advocate. So there may be fears or limiting beliefs come up as you start stepping through your vision and your why as to how you're going to do this and make sure that you're not falling back on any unconscious biases. So that's Wednesday. Now, I think that aspect hangs around for a couple of days this week, so just be aware of that. Then there was no main aspect for the 9th or the 10th that I wanted to talk about. The one that I wanted to talk about on the 11th of December, so that's Saturday, is the conjunction with Venus and Pluto. This happens once a year, a conjunction between Pluto and Venus. And I think that this is kind of a union made in heaven. Let me be clear, Pluto is the destroyer, not interested in any of your judgments or expectations, not interested in any external influences for your ascension. Venus was always seen historically and anciently as the goddess of war and love. And we've kind of sort of shrouded the whole aspect of Venus as the goddess of war. Now, what does that mean? I mean for us archetypally now in the society that we live in, because we don't typically go out and wage war, but it is this inner space where we can wage war, and that perhaps there needs to be some regeneration internally. Regeneration and destruction of any beliefs that are stopping us from moving into our liberation, because Sagittarius is our liberation. Now, Pluto has been in Sagittarius for a long time and will continue to be there for a couple of years yet, one or two more years. But this connection with Venus really will allow us to make sure that our values are aligned, perhaps that there are beliefs that you need to let go of, perhaps you need to fall madly, deeply in love with yourself, and there is some fear there that you are being selfish for loving yourself and having big, 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 deep faith in yourself. And that's not selfish. Once we love ourselves, we can step into our expansive quality. Every time I have come back more in connection with my body, looked after myself, loved myself, felt sensuous, everything else has flowed from there. So I really encourage you to embrace yourself, even physically embrace yourself, fall back in love with yourself and let go of any beliefs that are stopping you from stepping into your liberation. It's a pretty big week, I think. So that's Saturday. And Sunday we finish off with the introduction of a square between Neptune, who has started to go forwards now. Neptune's direct in the sign of the mystic. So we have the beacon being the mystic now. I really feel like this is quite pivotal for our age. You can see what's happening around the world with what's happened with the pandemic. You can see what's happening with our ecological collapse. Now, when I say ecological collapse, I mean the collapse of all environmental systems. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not just climate change. And for the shift and the changes to occur, and for us to step into a bigger vision of changes, we are going to need to step back into our spiritual nature. We are going to need to embrace ourselves as mystics, as well as logical, intellectual beings. One is not better than the other, but we have left our mysticism behind. Science and spirituality were born together. For the longest time, they were together. Nobody questioned it. Ask the First Nations people. Nobody questions their science and spirituality. They're wedded together. But Westerners, around the turn of the time where we moved into the current era, decided that the reasoning mind was better than our mystical mind, our mystical nature. Now is the time to bring it back together. So I would encourage you to embrace any fears that you have, to embrace that vulnerability around that you are spiritual. You are spirit. It's that fifth element. We talk about earth, air, fire, water. All things you can see and touch, and the material, you can touch your own body. And then that fifth element of spirit, consciousness, the idea that there is something greater. Go and stare at a horizon. Go and see something magnificent in nature. That allows you to step into that state of, I am part of something much, much bigger here. And you might need to express that and become a bit more authentic with who you actually are, with the people around you. We're leading into the holiday season. This is when, and there's been lots of instability with familial relations and perhaps friend relations with what's going on in the world. Now is the time to come back to who we are. We are both logical, intellectual, analytical, reasoning, but also mystical and spiritual. We are energy and matter. And now is the time to start really expressing who you are. You are held, and there's lots of us here doing exactly the same thing. So that's it for this week. If you are interested in working with me in 2022, as I mentioned, I have a 12-month program. It is a transformative program to get you connected with your strengths, your weaknesses, using them. It's all astrology. You get really connected with your chart. You get deeply connected with your unique celestial alchemy. You craft a plan. So you have a plan, you have a skill set as an astrologer, and that you can then start to bring that into your life and your business. So if you are interested in Soul Service Astrology Professional, please reach out, send me a message, and let's chat. That's it for me this week. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.